Welcome to the hashtag Startup Columbia, our first campus-wide entrepreneurship festival. In fact, due to the generosity of our host, Barnard University, and the Athena Center for Leadership Studies, we are now spanning 2 campuses today. My name is Chris McGarry. I'm the Director for Entrepreneurship at Columbia Entrepreneurship, which is an organization that sits in the President's Office with very close collaboration from the University Alumni Relations team. Our mission is to encourage and support entrepreneurial thinking, problem solving, and new venture formation across Columbia schools and the alumni community. We have a great program for you and some terrific panelists. So let me first introduce you to my very good friend and co-director, David Lerner.
Good morning, everyone. Great to have you here. I came to Columbia about a decade ago, and I've had the good fortune to work with a lot of the nodes of entrepreneurship on campus. I spent a number of years spinning out companies, working closely with the faculty, commercializing their technology out of the labs. I've mentored many students and young alumni that were trying to launch their own companies, and I have the good fortune of teaching entrepreneurship at the business school. So I've seen up close the breadth and depth of the talent at this university among all the schools that we have. It's absolutely remarkable. But I've also been a witness to the explosion of entrepreneurship here on campus over the last 4 or 5 years in particular, and this energy and intensity has been nothing short of astonishing. So our role, working with the president and Richard Whitten, has been to help harness the immense diversity of talent and to work with our partner schools and clubs so that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and so that we evolve and define ourselves ultimately as one powerful entrepreneurship community.
So community building is not about a single organization. It's about collaborating with the many centers of excellence across the university. So look around you. Look at all of these banners. Each of these schools and that these banners represent, and the entrepreneurship programs that they sponsor are stronger as school-based individual initiatives when they are united as a whole community. Case in point, Columbia Entrepreneurship in collaboration with the Lang Entrepreneurship Center, Columbia College, the School of International and Public Affairs, and Columbia Engineering recently signed a lease for a 5,100 square foot co-working space in Soho. When it opens in June, it'll house 71 young Columbian entrepreneurs representing about 30 Columbia-born startups. Look at the logos on the festival program. This festival is emblematic of bringing this community together. A lot of long meetings, a lot of collaboration, a lot of selflessness. CORE, among the largest undergraduate student societies on campus, turned out its marketing machine to promote this event and turned out a small army of volunteers to staff the festival. You'll hear from them later today. They'll be managing the $50,000 Startup Columbia Challenge right after lunch. Columbia Entrepreneurship Organization from the business school leveraged their relationships. Columbia Entrepreneurship Organization CEO at the business school representing graduate students leveraged their relationships to build the incredible lineup of panels that you see in your brochure, as well as leverage their relationships to bring 4 nationally recognized journalists to moderate these panels. We are extremely grateful to our host, the Athena Center for Leadership Studies at Barnard College, for their hospitality and partnership. Finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors, the Lang Center, Columbia Engineering, and the incredible lineup of corporate sponsors that helped turn out and support today's festivities.
So let's start to kick things off here. If you're going to be tweeting today, notice that we have Dan Gigante live tweeting this event. So make sure you use the hashtag sign with the word Startup Columbia right after it, so we do speak, at least on Twitter today, with one voice.
Let's begin. Please join me in welcoming the president of Columbia University, Lee Bollinger.
So thank you very much, David and Chris. Let me also recognize Barnard College for this, and the Athena Center for Leadership Studies, and the director, Catherine Colbert. am in the midst of a Pulitzer Prize meeting. The president sits on the board with journalists and historians, playwrights, and this is the two-day period in which the people are selected for the prize. Very, very important event. You can't think about journalism and the press and not think about entrepreneurship, because that is one of the sectors of our society that has most recently undergone incredible changes, and still with incredible changes ahead, and enormously important social consequences, political, cultural, how we live as a society and a world. So the combination of media, of journalism, of entrepreneurship go together hand in hand. And you're going to hear from Claire Shipman later, who of course is really at the center of this. You'll also hear from Vishaka Desai, who is a special advisor to me, working on globalization issues. And one of my ideas is that the universities like Columbia and Barnard and all across the country really have to change to adjust to this new world of an interconnected global economy. Entrepreneurship is critical to understanding what's going on. Richard Whitten, sitting here in the front row, is the person in the university who is dedicated with enormous skill and talent, both knowledge of Columbia, knowledge of the business world, knowledge of practical things, as well as a person of great ideas himself. He is really the person who is leading the effort of the university and all our affiliated institutions like Barnard to try to bring more opportunities for us to engage, for students and faculty to engage in entrepreneurial activities. The only thing I think I really want to say is that, and I have to rush out because I have to go to the meeting. The only thing I really want to say is that, you know, universities are built mostly around ideas. And it's very easy within a university to underestimate the mystery and the creativity and the importance of how human beings take ideas and put them into action. How they actually make things occur, whether in an economic system or a nonprofit system, a social system, in any form. How do you take things that are invented as thoughts and actually bring them to some kind of other reality? And the creativity involved in that dimension is just as great, just as high as that of coming up with ideas in the first place. So it's easy from the university side to underestimate the creativity and importance involved. It's also easy on the other side to underestimate how important ideas are. And it's just a fact of life, I think, that when we're in kind of one world, those of us in the academy, we really need to find ways to counter the bias that we naturally have of underestimating the level of creativity, the level of importance of other ways of being in the world. So I think this is a fantastic new dimension of Columbia, and I really mean that. It's fantastic because it strikes at the zeitgeist of the time. That is, people are excited by the possibilities of entrepreneurship. But it also speaks against the kind of zeitgeist, or counters the zeitgeist of the academic world, which, as I said, is primarily devoted to discovering new knowledge, new ideas. You put those two things together, and there's a kind of fission, there's an excitement, there's an incredible amount of energy in that. And you can feel it, you can see it in this room, you can see it in the people who are working on this, and I just think it's one of the great things we have going at Columbia and Barnard. So I want to thank everybody from Richard, all through the people who are working with him, and the schools that already have programs, but they're developing, and also people here from the Athena Center. So thank you very much for letting me just say a few words.
Thank you, President Bollinger. Our next speaker is our host today. Please give a warm welcome to the Constance Hess Williams, Director of Athena Center for Leadership Studies at Barnard College, Catherine Colbert.
So good morning. It's so great to see you all here, and on behalf of Barnard and the Athena Center, I want to welcome you all to our campus and to this great event, Startup Columbia. Barnard and Athena are incredibly thrilled to be part of this rich tradition of innovation and entrepreneurship at Columbia, and even though it's not November, part of my job is to issue thanks, and so I want to make sure that President Bollinger, Richard Whitten, David Lerner, Chris McGarry, and all of those people at Lang and Seas are adequately thanked because it's great to see that we're all working in one unified way. But let me just stop here and say it's not just the administrators who deserve the thanks. There is a really great group of students at CORE, at CEO, here on the Barnard campus, at Entrepreneurs at Athena, who are with us today. And you all may not think you have a lot to learn, or you all may think you have a lot to learn from the more experienced people in this audience, but take it from me that we have a lot to learn from you. And it is the ability to work with students that inspire us every day, makes it fun to go to work, keeps us nimble, and frankly, I'm sure it's an equal share of learning that goes back and forth. Now, Entrepreneurs at Columbia is unique, and you'll find out today that that is a big part of that uniqueness is our diversity. There are many successful entrepreneurial programs across the country, but most of them focus on just a few areas, whether it be the type of business, technology companies, social entrepreneurship, the biomedical space. But, you know, Columbia has really taken a bigger look at this and said that their mission is larger and more expansive. And I have to say that is appropriate for the most prestigious university in a world-class city. So I'm thrilled that we're looking at entrepreneurship across many, many different ways. And I have to tell you that I think a good part of that diversity is the value that women bring, who are starting businesses at a rate faster than men. And unfortunately, we have our work cut out for us because across the nation, women-owned businesses do not quite do as well as male-owned businesses. They have trouble scaling, they are less profitable, they have a harder time securing capital. But the good news is that here in New York, women-owned businesses are at the forefront of innovation and a drive. The New York startup community boasts roughly double the number of women-owned startups as the Silicon Valley. And thus the talent that flocks here and stays here, both because of Columbia and others in our startup community, is a boon for all in this new entrepreneurial business. I'm also particularly excited about what Barnard brings to the Columbia startup community. As the most sought-after women's college in the nation, we have Entrepreneurs at Athena, which is dedicated to leveling the playing field for women entrepreneurs. But not only is this helping Barnard students, it's helping the women at Columbia, it's helping the women in the startup world across New York. And access to those programs are really important to ensure that that playing field is leveled. And one other thing for those of you who don't know is that we're helping to collaborate with all of the schools at Columbia to bring the women together in what is now being billed Women Founders at Columbia. 2 representatives from each of the schools have been meeting and continue to meet and will be working together to try to ensure that programming affects and influences their need. So one other thing I wanted to add, which is, you know, women at Barnard have had a long and distinguished career as entrepreneurs. People like Martha Stewart were Barnard grads and her companies reach 100 million consumers across all media platforms. But we also have students who started their own businesses, everything from Eva Sassoon, who started a mobile startup that sold last year. We've got students creating all kinds of businesses in a variety of different ways. We've been working with women startups who are really making an impact in the Silicon Alley. But before I leave, I just wanted to ask all of you to stand up for me. It's morning, it's Friday, etc. I want to get a sense of who's in this room. So help me here. If you've started a startup or you have worked at one, sit down. Okay. Check out the room. If you've interned at a startup, sit down. Okay. If you have worked in an innovative nonprofit or in a larger business that has been promoting innovation, sit down. Okay. If you are a leader in high school or in college, if you've led a student organization, or if you have participated in a student organization at a leadership level, sit down. Okay. Any of you left if you sold Girl Scout cookies? If you have participated in junior achievement? If you've worked in your local farm show? I got everybody. All right, well, I now need to continue, but you get the idea. The people in this room are bringing as many resources to each other as our panelists are bringing to you. So I urge you today to come together, talk to each other, share your courage, share your vision, share your dreams. Because when you are inspired to dream big and use your entrepreneurial talents to pay it forward, our world will be a better place, and we thank you for that.